There. Greetings, everybody. I want to welcome you here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show. This is a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So, feeling a bit better today. Had a fever bad by yesterday, but it seems to have broke. I don't have the chills or the sweats anymore, and now I just got a sore throat. So we'll be drinking lots of that while we're doing this video. So I'm here to do an episode from the mini series that we've been running for the past 4 weeks, I believe. This is the fifth week, which is titled A Near Perfect Start. And what it is that Ben came up with the idea that we would do something to deal with the first three albums put out by a band, like their debut, their second, and their third albums. So I like the idea, so I came up with this, that I'm going to put out a 6-series episode in which we talk about what I think are the best, for my personal listening, of the best 3 album starts by any band. Now, some of these bands I had to disqualify because they didn't have, there was one album in the collection that I hadn't listened to, and the things that come to mind are Steely Dan and Nectar. There's a couple of albums by both of them that I haven't listened to initially, so I can't really rate them as great starts if I haven't even listened to them. So there's a few others that there was one album in their initial discography where it really didn't work for me, and so I decided not to do them too. So that took quite a few bands. Then we're down to there was a few bands that I liked a lot, but not quite enough to put them up here. So then we're down to the 6 I chose, I think, are well deserving of being on this. So the number 2 band for this episode is Van Halen. Yes, Van Halen 1, Van Halen 2, and Van Halen Women and Children First. If you can get a good look at it, try to get it where in an angle where you can actually see it. I'm going the wrong way. Women and Children First. So this was their 3rd album. So how I would like to present this is that my first Van Halen album was Fair Warning, which is their 4th one. But it created such a love for the band that I went back and I collected all the other ones over time. The first one I collected was this one. This is a fantastic album. Few albums in rock have so many radio-friendly and classic hits as this album. Running with the Devil, Eruption, the opening to You Really Got Me, Ain't Talking About Love, Jamie's Crying, Ice Cream Man. All these songs are played a lot on the radio over the years. And at the time when this came out, many of us thought this was a metal album. Maybe it is. Could be considered a metal album. Definitely has a really heavy guitar playing, and the lead part is really dominating. I never heard anybody like this prior to this. But for me, when I was growing up, Ain't Talking About Love and You Really Got Me and Ice Cream Man were my 3 favorite tracks off this album. I loved all 3 of them for different reasons. The Ain't Talking About Love with that heavy riffing guitar and scorching kind of distorted guitar playing that he did on that song, just absolutely killer. Running with the Devil with that heavy bass opening. Now this was a song I took a while to warm up to it. There's something about it that didn't sit with me well, but over the years it's grown on me quite a bit. Eruption, of course, is the beginning of something extraordinary happening here. I'm the One. It was a song I never really cared much for. I didn't hate it or anything. I just never really paid much attention to it. Over the years, I think it's gotten a little bit better with it. Atomic Punk, this is a screecher of a song. And I went through a period of time with Jamie's Crying with that heavy bass guitar riff that goes on throughout that song. Absolutely killer. And the guitar solo is fantastic. I think David Lee Roth with the vocals on this are fantastic as well. And then you got Feel Your Love Tonight, kind of the same as Jamie's Crying, a little bit of the same type of thing going on, but I think this one's a little bit more commercial sounding. Then you got Little Dreamer. I like it. It's not a bad song. On Fire is probably one of the most underrated Van Halen songs, period. This song is just, as title says, On Fire. It's just a fantastic, heavy song. Produced by Ted Templeton, too. Fantastic debut album. One of the best of debut albums ever, I think. Definitely deserves to be leading the charge here. And one of the main reasons why this band is going to finish second on my list on this mini-series. Second album is a bit of a different story with this album. So Van Halen 2 was among the last Van Halen albums I purchased. I always found this one had too many You're No Good and Dance the Night Away. Too many of these. At the time, I thought it had too many songs that were covers. But over the years, I've come to appreciate Van Halen's ability to do covers. They oftentimes do these songs better than the originals. Sorry, I'm having to put it down like this because if you've ever held this album, you realize that the writing is very dark and hard to read on it. Somebody Get Me a Doctor. Yeah, absolutely killer tune. So I've grown on this album a lot. It's become one of the Van Halen albums that I love the most. Bottoms Up, another great tune. Out of Love, again. Light Up the Sky. And, I love the cover on this, too. Like, each of their albums, very good parts to it. I love this back cover here of them all doing stuff. One of the most dynamic bands that way. Stage bands. Spanish Fly, fantastic kind of acoustic, kind of flamingo type guitar playing here, fantastic. DOA, another good one. Women in Love, and then it ends up with Beautiful Girls. Now, some people put a bit of a knock on that song, say it's very commercial sounding. I actually like it. For me, it was the beginning of me liking this album, because up until that song, I really didn't care much for any of the tracks, but it kind of grew on me. This one got me wanting to listen to the album, and then I started playing the whole album, and I started to fall in love with it. This is a absolutely killer album. I don't know if it's in the same league as the one before or after it, but it's still a fantastic album. Now, the third album, Van Halen 3, Women and Children First. This is just proliferated with some classic Van Halen stuff on it. So, of course, I like it for the fact that it's green. It's a nice shot of them all there. Such a dominating band in so many ways. And The Cradle Will Rock, that was the first song I heard off of the album. I liked it a lot. I love the play with words. This album has a lot of that on it, actually. Everybody Wants Some is probably my favorite tune initially on the album. Real heavy, really good. Fools, heavy riffing on this, heavy bass. Beefy sounding describes this. Romeo's Delight, another good song. Tora Tora, this small, short little bit, which leads into Loss of Control, a really scraping type of tune. Take Your Whiskey Home, this may be my favorite song on the album now, after all these years. It's got that acoustic kind of build up. It's almost a bluesy sound to it in a lot of ways. I think David Lee Roth is fantastic on it. And it gets heavy right at the right possible point in it too. Very beefy. Could This Be Magic? It's a little bit of a different song for them, but Van Halen was known for doing those kind of things, adding stuff on it that not really 100% rock, not totally against it. Kind of reminiscent of some of the stuff Queen did in their News of the World and Day at the Races stuff time period. In Simple Rhyme, this is kind of a poppy kind of finish to the album, but I love the harmonical vocals on this particular track. I think it's their strongest. Another Ted Templeton. I think they're all Ted Templetons, right? If I'm right. hard to see on this one. It's, can't really see it. No, this one, yeah, Ted Templeton. They're all Ted Templetons. Excellent, well put together. I mean, for Van Halen, you could have went through their first 6 albums, and they would have probably been one of the six album. Probably would have been the best start by any band in history if you were to do all 6 of them. But as it is, you've got 3 of the best start to any group's career right here. Women and Children first, Van Halen 2, and Van Halen 1. So if you want to make any comments about the 3 Van Halen albums or about the starts, you can do that. If you've got a band you'd rather talk about, you can do that as well. Please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. That helps the channel and me personally. And if you want to hit the notification bell so you don't miss the final episode of the series, which will come out next week, please do so. Hopefully I'll be feeling much better by then and be able to do the whole week's worth of stuff that I normally do. Anyways, I appreciate your attention to the stuff I do, and I hope to see you all soon. So have yourself a good evening. Take care and goodbye.